Well, welcome back to the Lawn Care Grandpa channel. This is Jerry McMillan. He's been in the lawn care business for over 40 years. I worked with him for 10 of those years, and we're here to give you some answers to general questions through experience and what has always worked in his business. So I'm going to be asking him questions today, and today we're talking about how to make your lawn really deep dark green. There's really no quick fixes, but we're going to give you some of the ideas so that you can, fairly quickly get it. If you're doing it right, it shouldn't take that long.
If you have a lawn that's established, it's been there a while, but it's maybe not looking like you want it to look, your best time to start getting what you want is in the fall. Around here, this is Tennessee, you start with aeration, fertilizing, and a heavy seeding with fescue. Watering it really good, and do that the first or second week of September. Wait about 4 more weeks, and you don't need to aerate anymore, but you can fertilize and seed again, especially in areas that don't look like they're taking off real good. Actually, it'll probably lay dormant in the winter, but you still might do some more light fertilizing in the spring. Be sure and put down a preemergent early in the spring. What happens, a lot of annual weeds that you don't like dandelions or chickweed, their seeds will blow around, and that's how they grow the next year from seeds. Putting down that pre-emergent will kill the seeds and less likely have any more of those than you want. And then you start early in the year, another aeration, maybe before it gets hot by any means. You might put down a lot of seed and fertilizer in March, maybe a good amount twice, maybe around the 1st of March and the latter part of March. You can do it then. If you happen to have a good lawn that's doing pretty good, then you can skip the seeding in the spring, because last thing you'll want to do to it is weed and feed. Actually, that's a product that has a weed killer made in it, and it'll feed the lawn, plus it'll kill the weeds that bloom. But it'll also kill a lot of your seeds, so you don't want to put seed down if you're going to put down weed and feed. I've done a lot of lawns through the years and enjoyed them, a lot of good customers, and I've taught Matt real well. He knows more than I do, I believe.
So what kind of tools would the average homeowner want to look at getting or having on hand if they're going to be really trying to keep a dark green lawn? What would be some of the best tools?
Well, I guess, depending on what the homeowner likes to do, a garden tiller is always good. I've even used it a lot of times on lawns, especially when you have an area that's pretty good size, I guess. You can actually go around with a garden tiller and it'll cut, just make slices in the lawn, which is pretty good for it. It'll keep fertilizer and seed in place. What you want to do is just get used to your lawn. You'll see places that maybe it won't grow very fast, and other places it will. So you have to work on the areas that need the attention the most. And in a year or two, you'll know what areas to work with most and have a lawn that'll make your neighbors envious.
So some people recommend using iron on their lawn. Now, it can work in certain situations, make your lawn greener. But what would be like a negative effect if you use iron all the time?
Well, I'm not real familiar with it, but I know it changes the pH, and it may make it higher than it needs to be. And if so, your grass won't do good at all. And it's hard to get that medium, so I like to get the fertilizers that have already got the ingredients in it, and then you don't have to worry about whether you use too much of this or too much of that.
So is it better to use like the liquid or the granular fertilizer, or any of those products? Any products you're putting on, would it be better to use the liquid versions or the granular?
Well, I've heard a lot of people who choose the liquid. I suppose it's easier to use, but I personally have always used the granular. And I imagine, depending on what you like to work with, you'll find a good use for either one. The liquid will work good through a hose and sprinkle on it, and then the kind you use a tiller, not a tiller, but a spreader, you can get used to that too, depending on how heavy.